A great disturbance online. I feel dangerous. This entity is. Prepare for maximum cringe. We all must.
Hello, and yes, I'm finally posting another video. To anyone that's been expecting the Jotaro autism video, I apologize. That video was scrapped a few years back, and I've moved on from that type of content. I strongly dislike being confined to one topic, which in this case would be JoJo. The last thing I want to do is become a JoJo tuber, and the college courses I'm taking now take up a huge chunk of my time, sadly. But if there is another topic that is too interesting for me to let go, I will make videos about it though, so stay tuned. No promises for a new one coming soon. I do have a podcast, however, called Straight Facts No Printer, so check that out if you're interested. We discuss a lot of topics pertaining to internet personalities, and the last episode we talked about e-dating in a serious context. So if that's your cup of tea, please watch it. Link in bio. But without further ado, let's get into this shitstorm. As a quick intro for those uninitiated with this man or the Instagram landscape, this pimply-faced Chad is Anthony Torres, better known as Tippity on the internet. He recently migrated over to Twitter after Instagram axed both of his accounts, first Tippitytopkek and later Tippitytopgram. You might recognize him after remembering the legendary
Burger King foot lettuce
meme. As a Burger King employee at the time, Tippity was able to capitalize on the meme by posting
low funny pics
to his Instagram page in combination with using other trends at the time, like Had to Do It to Him and more.
Do you know the way?
He continued to grow his meme page, befriending and collaborating with cosplayers, meme pages, and other people. Eventually, Tippity left his Burger King job. Along with the change in employment came a reduced amount of original content on his page, and as time passed, Anthony posted less and less original memes, and the focus shifted to himself. Tippity was now the meme rather than the content he produced. Now, he posts way too many pictures and videos of himself, while also reposting other people's content rather than creating original stuff himself. With these introductory remarks out of the way, it's time to get into the meat and potatoes of why I'm making this video in the first place. Recently, Anthony's gotten himself involved in some controversy, along with being an insufferable cunt in general on Twitter. Tippity's been quite unfunny for a while, but ultimately he was harmless. His haha funnies range from big Chungiston posting or retweeting content that actually took a modicum of effort to create, unlike whatever he does.
That piece will look good as fuck, bro. Dang, that look good.
After Tippity's recent shift in focus on Twitter though, he has become one of the worst influencers online in my opinion. And the main issues I want to tackle right now are the following: Anthony's excessive horny posting and thirsting, his lack of humor in general and funniness, his hypocrisy, and the bonus round of small stuff that don't fall into any of these particular categories. But just so you guys know, there might be some overlap between these, so just be warned. To preface these points, I'm making this video partially because Tippity used to be a tolerable meme page on Instagram. In the span of a year though, his attempts at comedy have devolved tremendously, and it's really just sad to watch at this point. We need to end all of our collective suffering, especially Tippity's. Lots of people have begged Anthony to stop posting, going so far as to make a petition to get him to stop. I'm not kidding. I'll put it up in the description and on the screen right now. I'm also making this video because I feel Tippity's fuck-ups as of late are really insulting to the people he considers his inspirations. One of these inspirations is Etika, who needs no introduction. I feel like Tippity attempts to emulate part of Desmond's comedy, but he fails miserably at it. Anthony clearly looked up to Etika and has cited him as one of his major influences. Hell, he's definitely one of mine too. But what's upsetting is Tippity's blatant misunderstanding of who Etika was and what made him special in the first place. For the most part, Anthony just tries to emulate Etika's occasional horny posting, but this is a very, very small facet of who Etika was. This is also a very tiny portion of my video, but I thought I'd bring it up because I kind of had to get that off of my chest, and maybe you guys might see that as well. So I don't come across as an asshole ripping on a guy just for not being funny. I want to commend Anthony's behavior following Desmond's death. I think it was a really heartwarming move to unite the fan base and organize a respectful tribute video honoring Etika. So, Tippity, I genuinely thank you for that. Other than this though, there's really not much positive to say about you, sadly. Anthony's biggest flaw is his constant posting of lewd or pornographic content on Twitter. Tippity horny posts almost every single day and chases after female internet personalities, most notably the OK Boomer girl. You know, the one who did this TikTok.
Whatever you say, boomer!
He's constantly replying to this girl's tweets in a really unnerving way. Like, sure, replying once or twice in an ironic way can be funny, but this behavior is just so constant. This type of shit is just really creepy if you think about it. Anthony might defend himself by saying this whole thing is ironic and he doesn't mean any of it. Sure, I might believe that if he did it a few times, but he's so consistent with his simping that it's literally impossible to think this isn't at least somewhat genuine. Tippity's other posts, where he seems slightly more real, reveal that he actually does feel really lonely, and maybe this isn't such a big joke after all. Etika, on the other hand, would commend the artist who drew the hentai he'd retweet. These comedic moments were turned into opportunities to plug people and support their crafts. Also, Etika had other facets to his comedy and personality, which kept things very fresh. For instance, Desmond would offer genuine advice to his viewers and be an active member in the Nintendo fan community.
It's not cool to harbor hatred like that. Like, the same kind of hatred that I was saying needs to be let go from the past in order for us to move forward as a society. What kind of person would I be saying that and then maintaining a grudge over something that happened years ago?
Tippity's humor and personality can be boiled down to one simple trait. Haha, posting sex and chasing after girls and making myself look pathetic is funny. Unlike Desmond, Anthony doesn't prop up others, and he definitely isn't a positive influence on the meme or Nintendo communities. A lot of this section really boils down to personal opinion, but I really wanted to include this. But now that it's out of the way, let's move on to specific things Tippity has done, and also stuff he continues to do. I've realized that the main issue many others and I have with Anthony is how shameless he is, mostly involving things with a sexual nature. Letting your guard down sometimes and being embarrassing on purpose can be funny with right moderation. This type of humor becomes an issue though when that's literally all you ever do. The only person I can think of who does this constantly and still comes out on top is Anything for Views. He's the most shameless motherfucker on the planet, and every inch of his body can be found online, no joke. Yet somehow, Chad is still relevant and funny. This is probably the case because of his overall attitude, and perhaps the fact that he offers something to the world via his Cold Ones podcast and other projects. Tippity, like Chad, likes to expose his body on the internet for others to see, whether it's through lewds, workout pics and vids, or straight up posting cock. I remember the first time Tippity posted a picture of himself with his ass hanging out, double cheeked up on a Wednesday night, on Instagram. I'll admit it, I laughed when I saw it. But jokes get really old when they're repeated so much. Anthony's posted ass and naked pics so often that the joke has lost all of its impact. Plain and simple, it isn't funny anymore. In addition, there was no point being made or improved by the joke. At least Anything for Views would sometimes post his penis on Twitter threads that were being overly serious to break the tension. Other pages are also way more successful at playing the desperate type. At least people know these pages are kidding, and it isn't done as frequently. An important thing to know is that Tippity never established he's putting on a different persona online, so his thirsting for pussy, even if done ironically, isn't funny. The lack of a barrier between Tippity and Anthony is ultimately why I think people have issues with him. There's never an indicator of when Anthony is trying to project his real self and when he's joking. For example, this tweet about masturbating is definitely Tippity talking from experience. It just goes to show you how sad this guy is, and he really needs to find something to do in his life. I guess making a genuine ass of himself online is how he's filling that void. But the line is never drawn because he posts a fucking Drake and Josh meme about eating penis 8 minutes after. Seriously, check out the timestamps on his feed, I'm not capping. The answer is clear, he's just not joking on his page. His workout and music opinions are also definitely real, so that begs the question. How is anyone supposed to know when he's being real and joking if there's no difference on his page? With this question in mind, one of the most memorable and pathetic things Tippity did was when he went to LA for Anime Expo in 2019 and said poggers at a strip club. As an isolated event, or as a skit for a video, this would have been hilarious. However, there was no goal, and when placed into context with all the other shit Anthony did, it's just plain sad. Other instances of pointless actions was when Anthony posted a picture of his dick. No one wants to see that shit, and he edited it to have 3 fucking heads. I can't show it for obvious reasons, but it was straight up rancid. His pearly papules were in full view for anyone to see. I honestly don't see any valid motivation for doing this other than attention seeking or being a genuine sexual deviant. Both of these possibilities are alarming to say the least, and the latter is super sus. But if you're really fucked up and you want to see his penis, it's still up on his Twitter page, so have at it. Because of the lack of distinction between humor and reality, Tippity comes across as a hypocrite multiple times. For those of you who don't know, Tippity had sex with an e-girl known as Holly. There was a constant build-up towards this on Twitter, with Holly and Anthony posting about it frequently. When the two finally got together IRL, they had sex. Tippity and Holly posted about the event, claiming that Tippity said poggers when he came. Some people accused Anthony of grooming this girl, while some brought it so far as to accuse him of having sex with a minor. As far as I know, and according to cross-checking with my sources, Holly at least recently turned 18 by the time she had sex with Tippity. Holly's age remains a bit of a mystery. She did post a story on her Instagram page saying that she was 19, and Tippity also said that she was 19, but I can't trust Anthony on this one. I'm not going to drop a definitive judgment on Tippity in this case because of how unclear all of this is, but the context is important to know. Regardless of Holly's age and the accusations, there's no need to make your sex life this public and constantly talk about it. Personally, I think it's really unhealthy and super creepy. There's no need to see private sex or anything either. The story continues when Anthony was urged to talk about this drama on Biblecast, a podcast hosted by multiple Instagram meme pages, and said he didn't want to get into it too much. Tippity kept dancing around the point that he and Holly had sex, trying not to say the word sex. He was self-aware enough to know his and Holly's behavior was annoying, which he stated as such on the podcast. However, Anthony said he doesn't regret his posts and actions. Apparently, the public nature of the event was to draw out the simps, but come on, there was definitely another self-serving motivation. His unwillingness to address the issue directly is a bit hypocritical and two-faced. If his intention was to troll, he'd have no issue talking about it openly like he did on his Twitter. Why does he decide all of a sudden that it's not acceptable to discuss sex on a podcast, but it's okay on Twitter for everyone to see? Tippity also keeps posting obscene stuff after the fact. There's definitely something going on here. What else does Anthony have to lose, man? His entire body, except for his asshole, has been seen on the internet. He chose to make his sex an open affair for the internet by posting about it publicly. You can't pick and choose, man. You already posted it for everyone else to see. Another related but smaller moment of hypocrisy was when Anthony condemned people posting about Billie Eilish turning 18. Tippity corrected himself by following that tweet up by saying he shouldn't be talking. Still though, this moment shows that this man should honestly think a lot more before he posts, or just delete all of his shit. Anthony just ramped up his simping online afterwards, and it still gets worse by the day. Nico, the OK Boomer girl, is his main target currently, but he'll latch on to another girl when he gets bored. Lastly, a crucial moment of hypocrisy and erosion between Tippity's real self and his persona is this tweet. In this tweet, he says he's mostly done with memes. That would directly imply his Twitter is who Anthony truly is. But he's obviously going to defend himself by saying he's being ironic or include any other buzzword involving comedy to cover his ass. In my opinion, either make 2 pages to denote there's a difference between your online personality and yourself, or take the L and admit you're one sad dude. Now it's time for the bonus round of weird stuff Anthony's done and or said. Jumping right in, Tippity loves to post whenever he's working out on Twitter. As expected, he mixes this type of post with his usual shtick of horny posting and being unfunny. In this example, he posts some softcore hentai of an anime chick on his dick in the same pose, next to the real photo. Wow, just real riveting content right there. Next are these two pull-up / chin-up videos, and the reason why I'm confused about which exercise he's doing is because Anthony doesn't even fucking perform it correctly. Tippity moves his legs to get momentum when he's clearly not supposed to. Anthony even posted another video because people called him out on doing it wrong, but he still fucking moves his legs, so he's doing it wrong anyway. A brief fun fact about Tippity as well is that he shit himself in Busch Gardens during 2015, and he loves to talk about it. Self-explanatory, it's really low-hanging fruit and just plain embarrassing. I really don't feel like I have to go for the jugular on this one. Let's just move on. In Exhibit C, we have the way his room looks. I wouldn't even live there if someone paid me $10K, and even if I accepted, I'd have to deal with the rancid smell his place probably has. It literally looks like the stereotype of a basement dweller's place. Now, the merch Anthony has all around his room isn't the problem I have. I understand. You want to support your favorite creators and franchises, all power to you. It's just the way Tippity doesn't have anything organized and the lighting in his room is just super depressing. Have some self-respect, man, and clean your goddamn room every once in a while. Holy shit. Also, showing off body pillows isn't something to be proud of. I don't care if any of you own them, and Anthony as well, but just don't tote them around like a badge of honor, Jesus Christ. Then there's the whole cameo thing, which is kind of like when you pay people on Fiverr to say like stupid shit, like the Shrek guy who's like old and he's like, he dresses up as Shrek, or the Jesus guy who does like the Fiverr videos. Anyways, Cameo's kind of like that service. Tippity around New Year's, when it was turning into 2020, he made a cameo. He was charging around $5 to make a video for people, and then eventually he changed his prices to $10. And I mean, like, dude, like, get another job, please. I'm gonna talk about this in the next section, but you're not offering a quality service, and who wants to pay for it? You're not even trying that hard in these, and your green screen game is weak. Come on, man, you can edit better than this. As I alluded to previously, lastly is Tippity's current status and bleak future. After he left Burger King, Anthony went on to work at a Lexus garage for a while before becoming a food delivery driver. He works for DoorDash now, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I'm not gonna hate on a man who has to hustle to get his money. More power to you. Go get that bread. But the issue is that you need some kind of plan and goals to reach towards. That's for everyone in life, not just Tippity. And as far as I know, Tippity doesn't even go to college and delivers food full time. Again, just to reiterate, I'm not belittling people who don't go to college or work in service, retail, etc. I'm just mentioning this because Tippity doesn't seem to have a long-term plan for his future. Anthony clearly isn't funny enough to garner a big following to live sustainably as a content creator. Hell, he doesn't even really create anything. As you saw with the cameo, his green screen game is weak, and his YouTube channel is pitiful. It's super simple, and it hasn't really developed that much. Now, there's nothing wrong with starting a channel, mind you, and you're obviously going to be bad at anything when you're starting out for the first time. I mean, just look at me. My Jotaro video has so many mistakes in it, and I'm super embarrassed of them. That video fucking sucks. But Tippity just doesn't put a lot of effort into improving his craft in general by learning better editing techniques or practicing his comedy. So besides his Twitter page, since he doesn't have a substantially large Instagram following anymore, and a YouTube account that needs a massive overhaul, what else does Tippity have left? Nothing really, if you think about it. Anthony is essentially committing social suicide by banking on his tiny, minuscule piece of internet clout in order to live his life. There are so many people larger than Tippity that can viably do this if they play it smart, but Anthony wasn't and still isn't famous enough to begin with when he decided to do this. Especially with a highly unstable market such as social media, people are bound to fall off at some point, with some exceptions. But, regardless of what I've said, all I've got left to tell Anthony is good luck in life, man, and honestly, I hope you get your shit together soon, because you really need to. Alright, that marks the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I just wanted to apologize for my stuffiness. I know I must have sounded pretty weird during this, and I had to edit out a lot of my breathing and my sniffles. Again, I apologize for that. Now, I know if any of you were fans of me previously, this wasn't a JoJo or anime video, as I said in the intro. Again, I apologize, but I was very bored during quarantine, and Tippity has been on my mind for quite some time because of his very shitty content and terrible takes, so I really wanted to make this video. Now, Tippity's fans, or people who are just casually watching, might like ask me like, hey, why'd you make this video? I mean, it's quarantine, why not? And I kind of like drama, and this was just a fun thing to research. It was just nice to have something to do during the quarantine, and a lot of people don't like Tippity, I sure as hell don't, and he kind of needed to be knocked down a peg. There was a lot more I could have covered in terms of him as a person, like his music taste that he likes to flaunt around as something unique, but it's literally just based on Anthony Fantano, but it wasn't really important enough, and I wanted to cover things that seemed more serious and like actual problems, and maybe even help Tippity kind of like get his life back on track, because again, it's just sad to watch. It's like watching a train crash. You can't keep your eyes off of it. But regardless, if you have any other ideas of videos you guys want me to cover, please let me know. I am Frankistador, and I am signing off. Have a good day, or night, depending on what time it is, and stay safe and healthy.